Hey, welcome to the second episode of The Day. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. This is Women's History Month series. Very excited to have my next guest. But before then, let's go. All right, once again, welcome to another episode of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Courtney Harden. Happy Monday. Again, this is the second show of the day. The Women's History Month series continues. I have my second guest of this month of the series. Very, very excited. I'll bring her on in a minute. But if you would like, you can like and subscribe to the show as well. Spotify, Apple. We're also on bs3tvlive.com. Also, BS3 Network Roku channel. You can follow the show on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on TikTok at Get the Real Deal, on all the major podcast and social media platforms. All right. Well, I am going to bring in my next guest. It is Aya Abdeen. She is the Burn City Sports Phoenix Mercury reporter, also fan-sided, the Next Hoops contributor. So she's a writer, excellent writer as well, and also Cronkite ASU 2025 class. So welcome to the show. I really appreciate it. I think you're on mute. I think you're on mute.
Hey, I'm so sorry I was on mute.
No, you're good.
My bad. Thank you for having me on there.
Oh, no doubt. Yes. I'm glad. Thank you for coming on this series that I do. Highlight incredible women in this space during this month, and highlight and feature. But it's not just this month. We feature and highlight all incredible women throughout the years and everything too. This is just a special month that I do each and every year. So glad to have you a part of this series. So thank you for accepting the invite, and looking forward to get to know you a little bit.
You're welcome.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, first question I always ask my guests is in background or intro of who is Aya Abdeen, and how did you get started into sports?
Okay, so I was 13 when I went to my first Phoenix Mercury game. It was back in May of 2016. I remember sitting in a suite with my family, and it was a game when the Phoenix Mercury won over the Washington Mystics.
Okay.
Diana Taurasi had 28 points, and she was the first player who got me interested in women's basketball.
Hmm.
I also remembered getting a Phoenix Mercury jersey, which was indeed Taurasi at halftime, and I was super happy, like, after getting the jersey, which I don't even know how I feel, but it was pretty cool to look back at this moment and see how the game of women's basketball has come a long way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, it's come a long way, and we're gonna get into all that. We gotta get into, as you said, Diane Taurasi. You got the jersey, Diane Taurasi retiring.
Mhm.
Just what, a week ago, she announced her retirement. So I know you had a lot of feelings on that. So we'll get into. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about Diane Taurasi, what she meant to you, and you got to cover you get to cover the Mercury as well, and we're gonna talk about their upcoming season. So, but talk about your journey a little bit more about like how you got into sports and things
Mhm.
like that.
So, almost 7 years ago, I remember going to the event in which I got to leave school early, which it was Fries Trading Places, and where Phoenix Mercury players traded places with employees of a local fries food
Hmm.
stores. So I remember the first thing that I did with my mom is go meet Diana Taurasi, in which she was at the floral sections making the floral arrangements. I remembered when my mom would tell her that I was the one that gifted her a
Mm.
personalized sand bottle from my parents' home country, which was a Man Jordan with her name on it. And Taraji said that she would be giving me the flowers. And like when I was first told that, I was like, "What?" Like, you got to be
Yeah.
kidding me. Like,
Yeah.
why am I getting the flowers when I'm playing? Which I literally didn't expect to this day. And then there was one of the moments in which Phoenix Mercury captured. Tarazi was making the flowers, and then I remember when I was vibing watching her make the flowers, and when she said that she felt like that she was on a TV show at the flower arrangements, a few seconds later, I told her, "Wow, this is the best day of my life." She laughed and responded, "Only gonna get better when you get these flowers." So that interaction ignited my passion to pursue a career in sports journalism.
Oh, no doubt. I love that. I like that. I always enjoy people's journey and how they got into the sports journalism or media reporting. So you can tell the love was there for you to pursue, and now you're pursuing it now as well. So how is the pursuit of becoming a sports journalist, and you're in college now. So
Mhm.
how has that journey been through the sports journalism from where you started and to where you are today?
So I remember when I was committed to Arizona State in my senior year
Mhm.
of high school. Like when I chose to study sports journalism as my major, I was like, I immediately knew that I could make an impact to the game of women's sports in the future. And then when I got into the field, I was like, I am ready to get it done.
Mhm.
So fast forward to like my junior year of college, like before the start, I got to report at my first WNBA game, which it
Okay.
was Diana Taurasi becoming the first player to score 10,000 points.
Wow.
All in my first WNBA game? You got to be kidding me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I literally didn't expect Taurasi to score 10,000 points in my first WNBA game as a media member. And I'm like, I am still starstruck. I am still shook to this day.
Mm. Yeah.
Like looking back at this moment, it's not only a historic moment, but it is huge to see one of the pioneers making huge history in the game of women's basketball, which you can see it on the men's side, but now seeing it on the women's side is even huge.
Yeah. And yes, women's sports has exploded, and as you said, just that moment of Diana Rossi scoring 10,000 points on your first, being the first media credentialed member, had to been something. And that had to have been like, and it's almost like a full circle moment for it, as we said. Now that DT just retired, we'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, that's I'm sure that's so great. And as you said, now you're about to graduate. How does it feel that you're close to that that moment of graduation? All the hard work's paying off, and you're right
Oh my
there, so
God.
close, right?
Yeah. It feels really weird that I just turned 22
Mm.
almost 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, I don't even feel 22 yet. Okay. So now to like think that I'm graduating in the spring, which is like really mind blowing to me, and especially the growth of women's basketball at this time around, which is pretty huge to say the least. Not to mention that I also got to report at the WNBA All Star Weekend last year and the
Mm.
unveiling of the Phoenix Mercury facility, in which I
Yeah,
got to see the unveiling of the Tarazi courts. I mean, I gotta say, looking back at these moments, it's it's pretty huge to say.
yeah, that is
And
very huge. Yeah.
I am still shook to this day.
I can tell. I can definitely tell how much that means to you. And
Mhm,
yeah, I remember the unveiling of that, and I got to ask. I didn't get a chance to go to the All Star game, but I that was on the
mhm,
Zoom calls that they do, the availability, and I got to ask Diane. I got to ask Tarazi, how does it make her feel? I think that was the last question in that press conference, and she said, how does it make her feel about having a facility named after her? And she was like, it was well overdue, but it was amazing to see it, the unveiling of that, having a facility like that, and that just explains the growth of women's sports, particularly basketball, of how
absolutely.
much it has grown just over the last couple years.
Mhm,
Talk about that in your perspective of writing about it and covering it and
mhm.
everything too, the growth and how much it keeps the women's sports just keeps exploding and growing. The investment and everything is long overdue, but it's here. And so, what do you think of your thoughts on that? And we're not going backwards. It's just continue to
Mhm.
keep pushing doors open.
So I remember when I got to tour the practice facility last July, like before that, I remember like especially after like getting to do the interview like in a scrum with Matt Ishbia and Tarazi. I
Hmm.
remember when I was looking around the courts and Tarazi came over to greet some of my classmates from the professional program, and then she saw me and told me, "Look at you," and gave me a hug. I'm like, that is
Wow.
not on my bingo card.
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
And then like I was starstruck while taking the tour of the practice facility since then. So getting to see like the inside is really huge, I gotta say.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just like I said. That's just a testament of the WBA now. Teams are getting practice facilities where they've been fighting for charter flights.
Huge.
They got new deals coming up now, so you're gonna have the collective bargaining that's coming up in the next year.
Yeah,
So I hope and wish that they get everything they deserve when it comes to all that media coverage, TV network deals,
mhm,
everything. More money. Now you got expansion and as well. So yeah, everything that the women's sports deserve, especially particularly the WNBA,
for sure.
definitely deserves. So, but let's talk about Diana Taurasi and her career. You said I know you're a big fan. You covered her and everything too. Like I said, she just announced her retirement last year, or
Mhm.
not last week. I said it last week,
Yeah.
and not last year, last week. And but what's like your thoughts of her career? When I think of Diana Taurasi, I think of one of the greatest of all time, winner at every level. She's they call it Kobe gave her the nickname White Mamba,
Mhm.
so that totally fits her and how she was dominant and all those things. But what are some of the things you think of when you think of Diana Taurasi?
I gotta say, Tarazi is one of one. Her
Mm,
longevity is really impressive. I remember getting to do a story about her longevity last year, in which it was published on the day of her last home game in front of the X Factor. I got to go there as a fan and
mhm.
to reminisce all of these memories. I'm like, this is like getting to see Tarazi get her flowers and especially her appearing on ABC shows, Good Morning America and The View. I
Yes.
gotta say, she is the best trash talker, best
Yes.
in the history, you know. Not to
Yes.
mention that Whoopi Goldberg mispronounced Tarazi's last name wrong.
Yes, on the view. Yep.
And
I saw that.
it's pretty funny to me that she responded back with, "Good, nice to see you, Whippy." I mean, Whoopi.
Yeah.
I mean, like she's a jokester. I personally, I could see her becoming a comedian in the near future. I might be wrong, but like a lot of fans would love to see a lot of more Bird and Tarazi show content as well.
Hmm.
Now they have now
Yes.
both Sue Bird and Diana Tarazi have more time for it.
Yes, for sure. They are definitely the both of them all time greats, UConn alum and then champions at on the in the professional level as well. So yeah, for sure. We got a couple shout outs here. Nathan Ramasandra from the NR Sports Rush show. He said happy Women's History Month. He says so. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Thank
thank you for
you.
tuning in. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Yeah, so yeah, DT is like you said, she is a one of one. You definitely hit that on the head because they're just an all time great. And you said trash talker. She backed it up. She spoke her mind. Still continue to this day. Speaks her mind. However, whatever she's authentic and how she feels. She tells it how she feels, and
Mhm.
that's what we're gonna remember for. Like I said, winner, all time great. Just one of the best players. To some maybe the GOAT, and to some she's definitely up there. You say all time great women players. She's totally up there. But let's talk about the Phoenix Mercury a little bit. Their upcoming season, a lot of changes. You said Diane Taurasi, their all-time leader in a lot of categories.
Mhm.
And then now Brittany Griner as well has left and now in Atlanta Dream. What do you feel about some of the changes that the Phoenix Mercury has not having Diane Taurasi or Brittany Griner on this upcoming season. But like I said, Alyssa Thomas and Kalani Brown, uh, Sabali, they still gonna be a pretty good team.
Hmm. And to pair it up with Kalia Copper,
Kalia Copper,
which
yes.
is pretty interesting to me. Not
Hmm.
to mention that the last time the Phoenix Mercury were without Diana Taurasi or Brittany Griner was in 2003, which is
Yeah,
pretty wild for me to say the least. Like back before the Phoenix Mercury got the first overall pick the next year, in which Taurasi has made a forever lasting impact on the founding franchise, which is the Phoenix Mercury.
yeah.
So back on to the current Mercury team, I got to attend Alyssa Thomas's introductory press conference, and I got to ask Thomas about her mindset. And I remember that she said that she wants to continue to win and to expand on the Mercury's legacy, which
Hmm.
where Tarazi built the house there.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, they got Sabali is like
He's a unicorn.
that's
Sabi
a
is a
unicorn.
unicorn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6'4" unicorn. I mean, I know she was wanted by a lot of teams, and the Liberty. I thought she was going to the
I
Liberty.
thought she was going to the Liberty too.
Yeah, yeah. I thought she was going to Liberty, but to be with Sabrina and Stewie and them, and they're trying to repeat, but Phoenix, even though they said losing Griner and Tarazi's going, yes, that's a two big voids. They're two legends, two veterans of that team. But as you said, you got Alyssa Thomas, one of the best players in the world.
Mhm.
Triple double waiting to happen. On top of that, as you said, Kalia Copper, who is a bucket getter and a bucket maker, so she gets buckets all the time. So score. So yeah, it's gonna look different, but they still going to be a problem. I still think they're going to be pretty good. Yeah, a lot of teams have. There's a lot of changes, and this season is going to be pretty epic because there was so many different changes, so many different players getting traded or leaving, free agency. It's going to be a wild season. I can't wait for it. We thought last season was really good, which it was. I think this season could be even better because of the all the changes in the free agency and everything too. So I think Phoenix is going to be very good.
I gotta say, like how it all turned out in the off season, like it kind
Mm-hmm.
of surprised me. Personally, as a fan, like how, like Matt Ishbia, he wants to win at all high levels. Like
Yeah.
I originally thought that the Mercury was gonna tank for Juju Watkins, and then they ended up getting Alyssa Thomas and Satu Sabali. I'm like, okay, this is
They
gonna be
still trying to
really
win.
idea how it will all turn out, and especially add in a practice facility and Kalia
Yes.
Copper's active pursuing a free agents on Instagram last year with all free agents.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
free agents.
All free agents. It's
Yeah.
gonna be, yeah, they're gonna be good. They're trying to still win. And I think, they knew that they did this day was gonna happen, losing Tarazi to retirement. So they're like, we're not gonna rebuild. We'll just retool and still
Mhm.
be competitive. And they're gonna put a competitive they're gonna definitely put a competitive team out there. Their depth, there's some question about their depth, but again, they'll make some noise. I think they're gonna make a lot of noise. Any other teams outside of Phoenix that you got your eyes on in this upcoming season with all the, like I said, all the offseason moves, and any couple teams that you can think of that you got your eyes on that could make some noise?
I would say definitely Atlanta and Indiana. Like
Mm,
Indiana, they want to try to win, especially with like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston building up to the young core. Think about where Indiana Fever was, especially after Tamika Catchings retired.
yes,
They were
yeah,
struggling. They were struggling
mhm,
to get back on top. They were in the bottom for like the last few years, and then to see the Fever not only get Aaliyah Boston but Caitlin Clark to pair it up, and then they also got brought in how Natasha Howard, Sophie
yeah,
Cunningham, and
yeah,
Anna Bonner is really huge. Like,
huge.
yeah.
Huge. You're right. No, you're right. With Howard and then getting Sidney Colson, DeWanna Bonner, you said they've won a combined 7 WNBA championships amongst them. So you get that core putting in them together with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. That's what they needed. There was a young team, very young team, and now they get veteran championship caliber team together. With players combined with those two, and then re-signing Kelsey Mitchell was huge for them
Yeah,
as well. It was huge. Indiana's going to make they're there. They're going to make a lot of noise. I
for
agree,
sure.
100%. And again, you talked about Atlanta as well. Brianna Jones and just and then you said Brittany Griner. It's like yeah, like that's you kind of just figure like they're trying to be get better as well on top
Hmm.
of that. So
Yeah.
I like what they did. I like what they've done.
Hmm.
I'm interested to see how with Kelsey Plum, with LA, that's another move.
And Jewel Lloyd to Las
And
Vegas.
does Vegas, yeah, do Vegas do they are they going to still be a team to look out for losing
I think that could be a possibility, especially with Asia Wilson. She
yeah.
had a spectacular season last
Oh
year.
my goodness, yeah, she's the best player in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, MVP and all that. So yeah, yeah, we'll see how the Aces do losing Plum, but getting Jewel Lloyd is that's like they're just basically just traded.
Mhm.
They just traded for each other. I am interested to see what Kelsey Plum does in LA.
Yeah. And
They,
especially you can see how happy Jewel Lloyd is being
yeah.
on the team, especially
Hmm.
after there were reports about about Noel Quinn and a coaching staff last year.
Yeah, and added to another young team with Cameron Brink or Kia Jackson, and then they got De'Erica Hamby. Is
Yeah.
that's a good it's a good core. So we'll see how they do. I mean, there's so many. We could go on about it. Every team you can talk about. I mean, the Minnesota Lynx, can they get back to the finals?
I
Which I
gotta
think
say, maintaining a core throughout the off season is huge. Like it
huge.
doesn't
Yeah.
get talked enough about.
Yes, exactly. And they were just an overtime away from winning the championship. Probably
Yeah.
could have won that. Their whole entire starting lineup is back. Yeah, they're gonna be a problem again. We'll see if the Liberty can they lost Satu. I thought they got Satu. I was like, but can they make another run and trying to run it back with their core. You said they brought their core, most of their core back as well. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season for sure. I can't wait to watch it. All right, I just got a couple more for you before I let you go. I wanted to ask you about sports writing and the sports media future. As you said, you're getting ready to graduate from Arizona State
Yes.
University, and the future of sports writing and the media as we see how things have changed over the years of how people consume content, with social media, and not watching much TV, but streaming and all that. But what do you
Mm.
think is the future of sports writing and sport and media in general?
It's hard to ask, but continuing to promote more coverage on social media is one of the most important things to making journalism successful.
Yeah, it is for sure. I think more promotion, continued promotion, I should say. Social media is the way it seems like, because that's where a lot of things are going. With say with streaming, with social media, with a lot of different things when it comes to that. And I know it's a hard business. It's a very hard business to get in, but there's opportunities out there too. And then there's layoffs and things like that. It is a very hard business, but you can find a way have your voice. There's podcasting, there's streaming, there's a lot of different avenues to uh to get in. And as you said, you're covering the Phoenix Mercury. You've been a credential member, so you definitely have your foot in there. So it's all about continue to maintain. So, well, where did your before I ask you my last question, where did your love of writing come from with that? Because you do a lot of writing too.
Um, Using my storytelling technique that I have used from Cronkite, and especially my experience with the Next. Like I am still a contributing writer with the Next, in which I might have
Yeah.
more stories to come. But like getting to gain that experience and show the love for writing is really huge. Like back in high school, I hated writing.
Yeah.
Was like writing essays like in the school I attended was really challenging, but thankfully we don't write as much essays in college because we're like, journalism students, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's nice. And it is the future's always bright. I know
Mhm.
we you hear it about, like we said, we hear about journalism and how journalism has now the way media is being the way media is covered or is covering different things when it comes not just to sports, but politics and things like that.
Mhm.
Yes, you do have that side of it, but I still feel like there's a bright future in journalism and media when it comes to that. You're part of it. You're gonna be right out there and doing your thing with it too. So looking forward to seeing what the future holds. All right, last question I want to ask you is
Absolutely.
about Women's History Month, and since it is March, but I always ask my guests, what does that mean to you on a professional and a personal level?
Women's History Month means a lot to me, and especially to women around in the sports journalism industry. Showing them that they belong in this field is really important to make sure that it is that they all feel included and welcome in the industry. And
Hmm.
circling back on it, I feel like I want to continue to build up to the top and be the best reporter I can be and make an impact in women's sports, especially like how it all started at the floor section where Diana Taurasi was standing. So
Yeah.
like getting to make an immediate impact right now is like huge, and I cannot wait to be a part of it more.
Okay.
Like what Ario Chambers said, the women's basketball is so important.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, I really, I love Ariel Chambers. I do. Ari Chambers. She says it all the time. Yeah, women's basketball is so important. It's very important. Women's sports
Mhm,
is so important. And like I said, it's good to see it, the growth, continued growth, and not just in sports, but in media, in business, and journalism, and writing, all the avenues there. Looking forward to seeing how it continues to grow, and you're part of that future. So,
mhm,
so again, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I really appreciate it, the time, and I'm glad we got to connect on social media.
mhm,
Looking forward to what you got coming up, and they got to have you back on again during the WNBA season, where you
mhm,
be, and you graduate, and then you got the season starting, and yeah,
mhm.
so again, best of luck, many blessings on that and the graduation and in
Thank
the
you.
future as well. But let everyone know they can follow you on social media if they want to reach out to you, or just to pick your brain, or just ask you how to get into journalism and or anything like that.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, well, that's a wrap for the show. So you can follow Aya Abdeen on all social media platforms, and continue to look out for her content as she, continues on this journey and graduate and all that. So thank you again, and I'll be sharing this with you on all the platforms as well. So again, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
All right, yeah, thank you. All right, we'll talk to you soon, and we'll do this again. All right, until next time, be on the lookout for more of the Women's History Month series, and more great guests coming up. All right, thank you guys. Have a great rest of the week, and God bless.